Lesson 2: Millennials and Fillennials, Ethical Challenges and Responses. Who are Millennials and Fillennials? What are their characteristic traits? Do they have traits that are inimical to their moral development? These questions are the concerns of Lesson 2. Now, let's proceed to my topic: values and characteristics of the Millennial generation. The first one is the definition and origins. Millennials, also called Generation Y, are people born between 1981 and 1996. They grow up with very supportive parents who guided and encouraged them. This helped build their confidence and positive mindset. However, because of this strong support, some millennials entered adulthood expecting success easily, which sometimes lead to disappointment when facing real-life challenges. Now, let's proceed to the professional values and workplace behavior. Millennials believe that life is not only about work. They want time for family, hobbies, and personal growth. Because they saw problems like job loss and family issues growing up, they try to protect their personal life. The next one is achievement and accountability. They are hardworking and goal-oriented. Millennials want to do more than what is expected and take responsibility for their tasks. They are willing to put extra effort to succeed. Next is meaning over money. For millennials, having a meaningful job is more important than just earning a high salary. They prefer jobs that make them feel happy, useful, and connected to a purpose. The last one is entrepreneurial spirit. Many millennials are open to starting their own business since they had fewer responsibilities when younger. They are more willing to take risks and try new opportunities. Now, let's proceed to teamwork, technology, and tolerance. The first one is collaborative natures. Millennials enjoy working with others. They are to teamwork because of school activities and group learning. They believe working together leads to better results. The second one is increased tolerance. This generation is more accepting to differences, such as culture, beliefs, and personal style. They respect diversity and are open to new ideas. The last one is the technological proficiency. Millennials grow up using computers, phones, and the internet. Because of this, they are very skilled in technology and use it to make work fast and easier. And that's all for my report. Thank you.
Good day, I am Maria Hocita Julieses Autida, and I will continue the report. So, for the first is the intergenerational fractions and critics. Millennials are often at odds with baby boomers and Gen X due to different worldviews. So for the first is the perceptions of arrogance. Older generations often label millennials as the look-at-me generations, perceiving them as self-important, impatient, or disloyal. Their desire to take on major projects immediately after hiring is often mistaken for arrogance rather than a drive to overachieve. So for the perceptions of arrogance, ang mga older bosses daw sometimes think na ang millennials are show-offs or impatient because they want to lead a big achievements or big projects to their first day sa job pa lang. So the older generation sees this as being humbug, but the millennials actually just want to work hard and prove themselves immediately. For the second is the entitlement label. Because millennials are highly opinionated and demand better work-life balance, they are sometimes viewed as entitled or lazy by older colleagues who value traditional sacrifices for career advancement. So the lazy label, millennials speaks their minds and want time sa ilang personal lives. Older workers who grow up believing you must suffer or work long hour to get promoted. mistake this desire for balance as laziness or acting like they own something bitaw. For the third is the management style. Millennials rejects rigid rules and regulations. They prefer a flexible environment and on interpersonal relationship with leadership. They want a boss who is inspiring and imaginative, and most important, one who truly cares about them as individuals. For management styles, millennials hate strict old school rules, mga old school habits bitaw sa mga management. They don't want a scary boss. They want a leader who is creative and actually cares them as a person or as employee. They work better when the environment is flexible and friendly, rather than being cold and formal. For the fifth characteristics of millennials is the ethics and self-perception. So first is the moral reasoning. While some researchers suggest that millennials exhibit lower levels of cognitive and moral reasoning compared to the past, others argue they simply have different values. They often show a strong belief in ethical decisions, making that align with social awareness and deontological or duty-based principles. So some researchers claim that millennials don't think as deeply about unsay mali ug unsay sakto as people used to. However, others argue they just have different priorities. Millennials focus on duty, doing what is right for society, and being socially responsible rather than just following old traditions. For the second part of ethics and self-perception is the self-image. Their confidence extends to their self-perception. Interestingly, study shows millennials are less likely to identify themselves as overweight compared to older generation. Even when data suggests lower levels of physical fitness, highlighting a gap between their high self-confidence and physical reality. Millennials are very confident in themselves. This is so strong that even if millennials is physically unfit or overweight, they are still likely to feel good about how they look. They see themselves much more positively than older generations see themselves, even if the facts like
Good day everyone. So today I'm going to discuss the Fillennials or the Filipino Millennials. Filipino Millennials have their own unique characters and thus are specifically called Millennials. Millennials are Filipino Millennials na naay own identity because of our culture. Like, dili lang sila para sa uban millennials sa other countries. Like for example, the Filipino youth can be very active sa social media but is very close to their families. Fillennials are rising up to the dare. Gay Martinez shared how Filipino millennials are different. Fillennials are rising up to the dare, meaning go sila sa challenges like dili sila mahadlok mo try of new things. Example ana na ay student nga nagtukod og small business even if they have studies, so bisag og lisod gi-push nila. In our studies of the Filipino millennials, although they are generally considered as the type who have a YOLO mindset or the you only live once, millennials have at the moment and adventurous. We found out that our culture and values make them different. According to Martinez, she explained, therefore, tag this market segment as Fillennials, who are very passionate because they want to be better than their parents. That is why they try to achieve more and pursue higher studies. They recognize that living the life and being able to live the life you deserve should enable one to live with benefits, she added. So, they have the YOLO mindset, which means you only live once. They like to enjoy life and be adventurous. Ganahan sila mag-experience of new things. For example, even if something is very expensive, they might still try it because they want to enjoy life. And Fillennials are very passionate and ganahan sila mahimong better kaysa sa ilang parents mo nang nag-aim sila of success. Lastly, they want to achieve more but also enjoy life. Balance sila between hard work and enjoyment. Millennials are described as social media dependent and also the selfie generation. They usually spend thrifts who usually spend for luxury goods and so are called described as broke. They also described as narcissists, the me generation. They are fun, loving, self-expressive, and liberal. However, they also possess positive traits like politically and socially engaged. According to an article from the Philippine Star, they do not usually read newspaper but get information from Google or Waze for road directions. They have short attention span, according to Valeriana Justin Millennial Marketing Access in 7719. So, Millennials are known as social media dependent and the selfie generation. Hilig sila mag-post og selfies, hilig pud sila mag-post og mga about sa ilahang life. Sometimes they spend money on luxury things pod. So me personally, active jud kayo ko social media, mag-post sa IG and my day sa unsa nitabo sa akong life. And also hilig po kumakadto cart og mga makeups. And they are socially and politically aware pod, pero short ang ilang attention span. Like kabalo sila mag-address sa issues, dali ra pud sila ma-distract. So example ana nag-scroll ka sa Facebook and then nakakita kag issue. Like pag mo basa ng issue kay niadto din kag TikTok, nag-scroll lapud ka. So mao to pag niya naka-gain siya og kanang news but na-distract dayon sila. An article of Nathan A. Hallett, PhD, The Psychology of YOLO, discussed the characters of Millennials and Fillennials. The catchphrase, YOLO or you only live once, has been a cultural sensation. It is not new. The Latin poet Horace coined the phrase Capri Diem in 23 BC. So, the YOLO mindset kay siya kay it teaches us to enjoy life, pero sometimes mahimo siyang risky. Like me, real life example, me and my friends, kung naami sa mood, muingon na sila nga, hala, inom ta, then kami, Gida yun, despite having an exam, report, or quizzes pagkaugma. So, YOLO is similar to Capri Diem. So, which means seize the day, meaning enjoy life, pero dapat responsible gihapon. In conclusion, Fillennials are fun, expressive, and hardworking, pero kailangan din nila i-balance ang enjoyment and responsibility. Thank you.
Hello everyone, so today I'm gonna report the benefits of YOLO. So first, what is YOLO? So YOLO is a phrase which means you can only live once. So based on research, the catchphrase YOLO has some positive effect. So ang YOLO daw is na ay positive effect on our daily lives. So based on research, post-traumatic growth started by Ronnie Janoff Bullman of the University of Massachusetts has explored how terminal illness, diagnosis, and near fatal experience influence people. After a period of initial shock, many people, perhaps even most, experience profound shifts in terms of they spend their time, their appreciation of life, and their general sense of happiness. They report devoting more time to what they truly enjoy and not worrying nearly as much about much of what had previously stressed them. So based on a study of Ronnie John of Bullman, ang mga tawo nga naka-experience og serious illness og after near death kay sila ang tawo nga mas gina-value ang life, and sila pud ang tawo nga mas ginauna nila ang mga things nga mas importante sa ilaha, og dili kay nila gina isip ang mga maka-cause og stress sa ilaha. Next is the research on socio-emotional selectivity theory by Laura Carstensen, Stanford University. She explores the way that people devote their time as something such as life becomes more scarce. This research shows that as people age, as life becomes more scarce, they tend to devote more time to activities and relationships that promote positivity and feeling good. They conversely spend less time on things that will cause them feel negatively. Older people, when looking at visual scene, tend to focus more on pleasant aspect of the image than unpleasant one relative to younger people. Laura Carstensen, so when people feel limited time, so mas ginapili nila nga magbuhat og mga things mga things na positive, and mas ginapili nila nga positive food ang relationship nila sa uban para dili ma-stress, and dili nila isipon nga limited ra ang time. Next is the research of Nathan DeWall, University of Kentucky, shows that when college students are reminded of deaths in experiments compared to variety of control topics, they spend more time looking at positive words than negative words. When shown both, in short, when people are aware that life is more scarce, they focus on positive things and less on negative things. So, based on Nathan DeWall, ang mga college student daw or student or people is when they think of death or kamatayon, mas ginafocus nila ilang kagalingon sa mga positive things or mga positive nga buhatonon, and dili nila gina-stress pud ilang kagalingon. Wala sila dili kailangan nila i-focus ilang kaugalingon sa mga positive things, positive way of living, and mao na ang way nila para dili sila ma-stress. After all YOLO, University of Missouri shows that when reminded of death, people become more aware that life is scarce. In turn, this causes people to believe that life is more meaningful. So, based sa research ni Laura King, so when people feels na short kagyud ang kinabuhi, so mas ma-feel nato nga ang life dapat nato i-value. So mas kinahanglan nato mag-think of positive things. First is positive things, and mga buhatonon nga dili ta ma-stress. So kinahanglan nato i-apply ang YOLO sa atong kinabuhi para dili ta ma-stress, and para kuan po ta nga kinahanglan positive ako, dili ko mag-think og negative kayo. Ang nauna negative things, so samot ka stress and samot ma-short imong live our lives diri sa earth. And that's all for my listener. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. Today I will be discussing the downside of YOLO. So, what is YOLO? It is originally known as you only live once, and often linked to unruly, irresponsible, or risky behavior. So, to encourage making the most of life, na-misuse na siya most of the people. Parehaan ng sa harmful, illegal, or dangerous things. So, here are some examples, real-world examples. First, someone tweets YOLO while ga-drive sila car na hubog tapos nabangga. The next one is a young woman trespasses on a football field, intoxicated, then posts YOLO after being arrested. So, kani siya nga case, nag-show ni siya how people use the idea of YOLO, excuse reckless acts, thinking nga, since life is short, buhato na lang po nila ang mga butang nga ingana. So, the psychological impact, the YOLO mindset can make people more daring and prone to risk-taking. Research explains that when people are reminded that life is short, they try often boost their self-esteem, even in dangerous ways like reckless driving. So, YOLO is meant to value life, but it often leads to reckless behavior instead. The core idea of YOLO is that life is precious and limited. This very awareness sometimes make people act carelessly and risk rather than living life carefully and meaningfully. So that is all for my report. Thank you for listening.